In this presentation, we will explore the question, how do I write a post that others will want to read? Each of us will read many posts throughout our program at Olivet. Doing that has the potential to become a real drag if many of your classmates write a lot of fluff with little substance. If each of us commits to being part of the solution, not part of the problem, we'll get a lot more out of our time in the program, and that is what we desire for all of our students. One of the primary purposes of discussion forums is online classes, and it's for the students to engage deeply and critically with the course materials. Forums are a learning activity that support critical thinking. So having said that, what is critical thinking? One definition is it doesn't blindly accept given arguments and conclusions, but questions and evaluates their validity. It's the thinking we do when we judge ideas, consider alternatives, perspectives, avoid assumptions. These are all parts of critical thinking, looking for proof, drawing conclusions, and determining. And this was through criticallandcreativethinking.com. So that's what critical thinking is. They're an opportunity to develop community in your online class by interacting with classmates and the professor. Forums are a learning activity. That's the ideal. In practice, we all know that discussion forums often fall short of that. That happens when posts degenerate in off-topic discussions of issues, only vaguely related course materials. At Olivet, we really encourage our professors to hold our students to higher standards in their discussion posts. Remember, all college work is intended to demonstrate what you've learned. Avoid writing a post that someone who hasn't taken the course could have written. Demonstrate what you learned in the week through the material. Not only will you get a better score from your professors, but others will want to read the posts. We're going to cover two main topics in this lesson. The first is how to write posts that others want to read, and the second is how to respond to posts to keep the conversations interesting. To get at the first topic of writing posts, we'll cover three pieces of advice. Stay on topic, engage critically with the course materials, and use experiences to reinforce or to challenge learning. The purpose of any university assignment is to demonstrate learning. The more you stray from that main topic of the assignment, the less you can demonstrate learning. It's often tempting to meander into vaguely related topical areas. Avoid this. If you're having trouble finding something to say in your post, then go back, review the course materials until something occurs to you. At the risk of sounding a little bit repetitive, the purpose of any university assignment is to demonstrate learning. Your post will demonstrate it when you engage critically and deeply with our course materials. Engaging in the course materials does not mean summarizing the materials. Summary doesn't demonstrate learning. As you work through your reading and lessons, identify the key points and themes that are most important. As you write your posts, focus on those key points. Spend a lot of time unpacking them, pulling them apart to understand what makes them important and how they could be understood. How do they support other main points in the course, and what personal or professional implications do those points raise? Your personal and professional experiences matter, but they matter in a particular way in discussion forums. They matter as they help to reinforce or challenge what you're learning in the week. If your entire post is just about a personal or professional experience, a person who was not in this class could do that. You've not yet demonstrated learning. Your experience matters as it ties back to the course materials for the week. For example, you could show how your experience reinforces a key point. You could show how the learning from the week challenges you, or perhaps based on what you learned, you could tell how things you would do different now. Alternatively, you could use your experience to challenge something in the course. Maybe you think something in the course materials was wrong based on your prior experience. Carefully explain what you think that your experience taught you that is different from what you read in the course. Stay in topic, engage critically and deeply with the course materials, and use your experience to reinforce learning. And your posts will really add great value to collaborative learning experience. You've been in online conversations that you just can't step away from, haven't you? That's the goal of our forums. We can achieve that goal if those who respond to posts follow these guidelines. Extend the conversation, Just say no to writing just great post or good idea or I agree. Stay on topic. You may have heard that in the last guideline. What would happen if every time someone talked to you, you responded by reiterating what they said? What would happen if you were in a senior leadership meeting, a colleague just gave a report and you started talking about how the same thing happened to you last year? Well, your story took about 5 minutes of the valuable senior leadership time, and you had no point other than sharing your experience. In the second case, you could be viewed possibly as an incompetent leader. You'd be a bad conversationalist for sure. For some reason, people do this in online discussion forums, and they do when they would never do in a conversation, we hope. Effective response to one of your classmates' posts will help to encourage and to extend conversation. Extending conversation does not happen when you just summarize, as we talked before, what the author already said. It happens when you add something new and substantive to the conversation that gives others more chance to enter into that conversation. Perhaps you can offer a different perspective. Perhaps you can identify a consequence or implication of the post that the author had not anticipated. Perhaps there was something in the course materials that would really help to engage this conversation. Pull that out. As I said before, what would happen if every time someone said something to you, you responded by saying, "That's the greatest thing I've ever heard," or "Great post, good thought," and then you just looked at them with a big smile on your face? They may think something was a little off with you. Again, this happens frequently in online discussion forums, so don't be that guy or that gal. Just say no to ever writing great posts, and that's all you write. Or, "I agree with what you said," and quit. If you feel like you cannot get started without writing those words, just write them and then go back and delete them before you post. Each of us have a lot of posts to read, and none of us want to waste our time just seeing those words. Great post. Got it? The point of a forum is always to support learning around the main topics of the week. Therefore, further a discussion thread veers away from the main topic. The further it does that, the less likely it is to add value to the conversation. Consider if you were using a map app on your phone to get someplace in Chicago. Instead of taking you on the quickest route to your destination, the app took you past every landmark in the city of Chicago. You probably wouldn't use that map app again. It's your responsibility as a responder to help steer the conversation back to the topic. We're here to learn. Discussion forums are fun and engaging when they encourage deep, critical engagement, when they promote critical thinking, and when they help us to interact meaningfully with our classmates and our professor. You are the key to making that happen. You've sensed a theme in this lesson, I hope. The purpose of any university is to demonstrate learning. Forum posts are opportunities for critical thinking, but these goals are best achieved through the demonstration of learning. The less our posts demonstrate learning, the less value you will find in them, and the more they will just become an exercise in busy work for you and everyone else, and the more you're going to dread them. Make these assignments valuable by following all these recommendations we give you. And also, just in closing, be sure to point out to your classmates that you really appreciate it when they follow these guidelines. In many of our classes, you can upvote forum posts by liking them. If this feature is not enabled in your class, just ask the professor to change the course settings. It doesn't hurt to have a little bit of peer encouragement. Now watch this video on discussion forum basics.
Why do we hold discussions? Have you ever had an eye-opening discussion in a class that changed the way you think about something? Talking with others about the things we are learning allows us to hear lots of different perspectives. This helps us learn more about what we really believe ourselves and helps us come to a new and deeper understanding. As we share personal stories with each other, we are taught how to apply true principles into our own lives. Discussions let students teach and learn from each other. This is just one way that we use the principle teach one another from the BYU Idaho learning model. In online courses, we use discussion boards a lot to teach one another. Unlike a discussion in class, online discussion boards are asynchronous activities, meaning not everyone is on at the same time. Here are some tips that will help make our online discussions more useful and enjoyable. Post early. Can you imagine showing up to a classroom to have a discussion and no one else is there? How fun is it to talk to a wall? Posting early gives the discussion time to develop. Read others' posts before making your own. Again, imagine sitting in a classroom where every student says essentially the same thing. How boring. When you post on a discussion board, you need to make sure that you're not simply repeating the things that others have already said. And the best way to do that is to take the time to read what they've said. Write clearly and concisely. Because you can't see or hear one another in online discussions, you've got to be clear and concise in order to get your meaning across without smiling, eye contact, hand gestures, and other body language. Check your grammar and punctuation. A missing comma can make a big difference. For example, let's eat, Grandpa, or let's eat, Grandpa. Refer to others' posts. Saying things like, Stephanie mentioned in her post that, or I agree with most of Mark's post, but, can help everyone see where you are coming from and helps bring everyone together. Explain yourself. Sometimes it might be okay to write, I completely agree. However, these posts don't do much to make the discussion deeper or more meaningful. If you want to earn credit and points for a post, you can still start by saying, I agree, or no, wait. But you should then tell us why you think that way, or ask a new question, or share a personal experience, anything that will help move the discussion forward. Be respectful. Remember, say what you mean without being mean. Be civil with each other. Keep in mind, what you write may come across differently when it's read by others. Following these simple tips can help make for some amazing discussions. Now, go discuss something.
As you commit to share Substansi posts, others will learn. As you share, others learn. Now at this time, please click on the next button and take the following quiz to sign off on technology and Canvas. And good luck. We'll see you in the discussion forums.